So, good morning, everyone. This is our Module 2, Major 19 Finals. So, hi guys, good morning, each and everyone. My name is Nicole Shane Salcedo, Bachelor of Physical Education student. So, I will discuss to you and relate to you what are the following. So, we have the three definition of sports psychology, the five topics of sports psychology and its definition, the three definition of exercise psychology, the two definition of sports and exercise psychology, and lastly, we have the 15 sports and exercise psychology held expertise in the following area. So, I will take my blindfold. I will relate to you what are the 15 sports and exercise psychology held expertise in the following area. So, let's start the discussion about the 15 sports and exercise psychology held expertise in the following area. So, number one, performance enhancement and mental skills development. Number two, anxiety and stress management. Number three, concentration and mental preparation. Number four, overthinking and burnout. Number five, team building and leadership. Number six, communication skills and conflict resolution. Number seven, health and wellness coaching. Number eight, weight management. Number nine, debriefing and program evolution. Number 10, recovery and restoration. Number 11, injury rehabilitation. Number 12, psychology assessment. Number 13, video analysis of sporting emotion and performance. So, number 14 is career transition and coping with grief and loss. For example, resurrection and retirement. So lastly, number 15 is balancing and sports and study, employment and or family. So that's all the 15 sports and exercise psychology held expertise in the following area. So again, hello. So the third one is I will discuss to you and relate to you what are the two definition of sports and exercise psychology. So I will discuss to you and relate to you the first definition of sports and exercise psychology. I will take again my blindfold and place it into my eye. So the first definition of sports and exercise psychology, which is what is sports and exercise psychology? So, sports and exercise psychology is the program prepares leader that can guide individuals or group of um, organization to increase involvement and continued motivation in exercise, physical activity, and sports setting to improve health and well-being across the lifespan. So, hi guys, this is the second definition of sports and exercise psychology. So, let's proceed. I will take again my blindfold. Okay. So, this is the second definition of sports and exercise psychology. So, sports and exercise psychology program is based on science, practitioner model, where the focus is on the theory and research and how that information can be applied in a variety of movement settings. So, this is the second definition of sports and exercise psychology. So, good morning, everybody. So, for today, we will continue our discussion. So, for this day, I will going to discuss to you and relate to you what are the three definition of exercise psychology. So, let's start. So, I will going to discuss to you the first definition of exercise psychology. So, let's start. Okay, so I will take again my blindfold. So, what is the first definition of exercise psychology? So, the first definition of exercise psychology is exercise psychology is concerned with the application of psychological principle to promotion of physical activity and exercises. Psychological and emotional consequences of physical activity and exercise, and the psychological, emotional, and health related consequences of the lack of exercise. So, that is the first definition of exercise psychology. So, we will continue our discussion for the next definition of exercise psychology. So for today, guys, I will continue my discussion for the second definition of exercise psychology. So let's proceed. So let's go. So let's discuss the second definition of exercise psychology. So exercise psychology focuses on exercise and physical activity issue associated with epidemiology, barriers and motives, social influences and social supports, community, group, and individual interventions, self-esteem, body image, stress and coping, emotional well-being, quality of life, and special populations. So that is the second definition of exercise psychology. So let's proceed on a third definition of exercise psychology. So we will discuss to you what is the third definition of exercise psychology. So let's take again our blindfold first before we are going to discuss the third definition of exercise psychology. So, what is the third definition of exercise psychology? Exercise psychology is an examination of the association between psychological factors and participation in exercise and physical activity, and, in turn, how such participation affects personal functioning, health, and well-being. So, that is the third definition of exercise psychology. So, thank you so much everyone for listening. Hello, so good afternoon everyone. So, for today we're going to discuss the three definition of sports psychology. So, before we begin our discussion, let's take our blindfold. So, I'm going to discuss to you the first definition of sports psychology. So, the first definition of sports psychology is sports psychology is a subdiscipline of psychology applied to a competitive sport as a specific context of organized physical motor activity. The major emphasis of sports psychology is on the study and application of psychological factors enhancing athletic performance, on the impact of sports participation on a person or team, development. So that is the first definition of sports psychology. So let's begin our discussion um, to the second definition of sports psychology. So I will take again my blindfold before discussing the second definition of sports psychology. So sports psychology, this is the second definition. Sports psychology is the study of how psychological factors influence sports, athletics performance, exercise, and physical activity. It is a proficiency that uses psychological knowledge and skills to address optimal performance and well-being of athletes, developmental and social aspects of sports participation, and systemic issues associated with sports settings and organization. So that is the second definition of sports psychology. So guys, lastly, we are going to discuss the third definition of sports psychology. So before we discuss the third definition of sports psychology, so I will take again my blindfold before we start. So what is the third definition of sports psychology? Sports psychology interventions are designed to assist athletes and other sports participants, for example, coaches, administrators, parents, from a wide array of settings, level of competition, and age, ranging from recreational youth participants to professional and Olympic athletes to masters level performance. So that is the third definition of sports psychology. Thank you.
So hi guys, good afternoon everyone. So this is our last discussion, which is the 5 topics of sports psychology, which is the attentional focus, visualization and goal setting, motivation and team building. We have the anxiety and rehabilitation. So those are the 5 topics of sports psychology. So let's start our discussion. But before that, we should put our blindfold so we can discuss what are the 5 topics of sports psychology. So guys, let's start our discussion. So before that, we should put our blindfold before we discuss the first topic of sports psychology. So the first 5 topics of sports psychology, which is attentional focus. So attentional focus involves the ability to tune out distractions such as crowd of screaming fans and focus attention on the task at hand. This allows athletes to manage their mental focus even in the face of other things that are vying for attention. So that is our first sports psychology topic, which is the attentional focus. So our next topic, which is the visualization and goal setting. So let's proceed. So before that, we should put again our blindfold to discuss. So what is visualization and goal setting? So visualization and goal setting, this involves visualization performing a task, such as participating in an athletic event or successfully performing a particular skill. This area of sports psychology is centered on helping athletes mentally prepare for a performance or competition. So that is visualization and goal setting. So the next one is motivation and team building. So before that, again, we should put our blindfold. Okay. So let's start. What is motivation and team building? Some sports psychologists work with professional athletes and coaches to improve performance and increase motivation. A major subject in sports psychology, the study of motivation, look at both extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. Team building is also important topic in this field. Sports psychology might work with coaches and athletes to help them develop a sense of camaraderie and assist them in working together efficiently and effectively. So that is the motivation and team building. So the fourth one is the anxiety, and the fifth one is the rehabilitation. So before we proceed to rehabilitation, so let's discuss what is anxiety. So what is anxiety? Anxiety. Professional sports psychologists often help athletes cope with the intense pressure that comes from the competition. This often involves finding ways to reduce performance anxiety and combat burnout. So, that is anxiety. The fourth topics of sports psychology. So, our last one is the rehabilitation. So, let's discuss. So, rehabilitation. Rehabilitation, another important focus of sports psychology, is on helping athletes recover and return to their sports after an injury. A sports injury can lead people to experience emotion reactions in addition to their physical injury, which can include feelings of anger, frustration, hopeless, and fear. So, that is rehabilitation. So, those are the 5 topics of sports psychology.